The milk was stored in a milk house because we had vats of really cold water in there to keep the milk fresh until it got taken to the train station. We had a separator in an ice house that separated the cream from the milk, because I remember my mother used to make butter. We had one of these old-fashioned churners that we had to keep pushing up and down with our hands until it got butter. When I got older, when the animals were out to pasture, I would have to go down before it was their milking time, get them out of the field, and we had to cross a railroad track into the lane and get them down back to the barn. And on the way to the barn was a water pump, and I would have to keep pumping while they were drinking and then chase them back into the barnyard. Get back here, you guys. We also had chickens, and I was not a chicken lover. I used to clean the eggs because we took them to the Labdal store in Geneva to sell, so they had to be clean. But I did not like to go into the chicken coop. The chickens would just fly right towards you. They'd be in my head and sitting on my shoulders, and I'd be shooing them away. When Wall Street collapsed in 1929, we were not aware of what was happening. At least I wasn't. My parents never said anything about, not having enough to eat. Being farmers, we did have something to eat. We had milk, we had made our own butter, and we had a lot of things that a lot of people didn't have. So I was never aware that there was even a depression on. My sister was older, so she had the outdoor work more to do to help my father, and I always helped my mother. I was the housekeeper kind of that did the dishes and helped with the ironing and helped with doing everything she do, sweeping the floor. My mother was my teacher. We did our laundry in the little wood house right off of our house. We had a machine that turned the belt on the washing machine, very noisy. And then after it was washed and rinsed, we hung it out on the line to dry. And then it was very nice and fresh when we brought it in. Because we had no electricity in the house, my mother had a sewing machine that she had to use with a foot pedal. And she made all of the clothes for both my sister and I, and herself too. My Aunt Nellie would give us some older things that she had, some old coats and maybe dresses and skirts. And then my mother would take them and cut them down to our size and make all of our clothes. We were never able to go on vacations because of being farmers. We always had cows, and they always had to be brought in every day to be milked. And so we would do things probably mostly on a Sunday. We would go to Owasco Park, which had a nice beach, nice eating area, and they had a lot of fun things to do, like riding a roller coaster and the merry-go-round, and all those fun things the kids like to do, and that was really a big day out for us. My parents would take us swimming, especially on nice hot days in the summer. We would go down to Seneca Lake and go swimming in just the lake, no special park or anything. And then we used to pick cherries in the summertime too on one of the cherry farms down near Seneca Lake. And sometimes we would go swimming afterwards because we were so sticky with juice we needed to get washed off. We had some pigs on the farm which were used mostly naturally for food. So when it was time to make the sausage, all the family would gather at our house. And it was quite a process because all the intestines that were used to stuff the meat in had to be cleaned several days in advance, soaked in salt water and cleaned, really clean. And then we had a machine that we put those on, browned the meat first, and then it would go into these cleaned intestines to make sausage links, sausage rolls, and some of it we just used sausage patties, which did not require those. That was so good. Oh, we would fry it up as soon as we made it. Those were so good. The whole family worked on that. We had just a very small garden that we used just for our own use. Sweet corn, beans, and Tomatoes, always tomatoes. We never had any fruit of our own. If we made jelly or something, we had to buy the strawberries and things that we made our jelly. At holiday time, we would usually go to my grandmother's house for Thanksgiving, and then they came to my father and mother's house for Christmas. Transportation in those times was with a cutter pulled by horses. It was like a sleigh with runners on it, a big sleigh with runners on it, that you could get up and sit in, and we'd bundle all up real tight, cozy, and go and visit our aunts and uncles, and stay for a little while and back home again. When I was growing up, birthdays were not that big, but Christmas was a little bit different. But it wasn't like it is today. If we had a bag of nuts and a bag of oranges, we thought that was a big deal. Living in the country, you don't have those things. I had a Christmas tree in our living room, and so this nuts and oranges were placed under the Christmas tree, and we thought that was a big deal. We would make popcorn balls, or my mother probably would, and they were made with popcorn that we popped ourselves in a kettle on the stove, and some kind of a molassesy syrup that she poured over the top, and we would make them into balls, and that was a good real treat too at Christmas time.
There was a girl of the Finger Lakes, and she grew up on a farm. There were hard times in America, but still she found some way, with the love of her family and a faith in God above. She did her chores joyfully, although the chickens were not her friends. Well, they sold their crops and they ate what they could not, prepared their food with joy and they savored every crumb. There was a girl of the Finger Lakes, and she grew up on a farm. There were hard times in America, but still she found some way. She walked to school every day. In that one room she learned her ABCs. Only a baked potato for her lunch, but it warmed her to the core. On Sunday she'd sing her praise to Jesus for everything they had. It might not seem like much when love is all you've got, but gold will never feed your soul. It might not seem like much when love is all you've got, but gold will never feed your